This is a story about an artist, or rather a real rock star. Not the kind of star we usually talk about. He started by playing the piano, but then he added a bunch of other instruments. Usually he doesn't perform in front of lots of people, and sometimes he performs completely alone, in the toughest environments. He does it for days, nights and weeks, before he reaches the goal and receives his reward. Then everyone wants to talk to him and know all about his adventures.
Et à partir du moment où l'activité a pris forme avec la C40 et surtout avec la C75, mon rôle c'était de prendre les meilleurs chemins possibles pour avoir la meilleure performance sur l'eau. Donc c'est un peu touché au développement technique du bateau, à l'utilisation des marins, l'utilisation du bateau par les marins, à la communication entre les différents départements, créer des liens les plus serrés possibles et les plus efficaces entre tous.
This story starts even before Franck Cammas was born, when Éric Tabarly, a French sailor, won his first single-handed transatlantic race in 1964 on his boat Penduic II. He also competed 4 times in the Whitbread.
17 yachts from 7 nations are setting out on the world's longest ocean race. Penduic 6, hot favorite of the experts.
Éric Tabarly inspired an entire generation.
Oui, en fait, j'avais lu pas mal de livres et j'étais passionné par ça avant de monter sur un bateau. Donc j'ai poussé pour faire ce premier stage de voile et ça a confirmé la passion que j'avais finalement eue à travers des récits de Tour du Monde, de Éric Tabarly qui faisait sa première Whitbread.
The young Franck Cammas has found his instrument and his environment. In 1997, at the age of 24, he takes his first real win.
Franck Cammas a remporté cette nuit la Solitaire du Figaro à la voile. À 24 ans, c'est un succès prometteur pour ce navigateur qui espère ainsi emboîter le pas à ses glorieux aînés.
C'est un peu un rêve, c'est vrai, de gagner le Figaro. Il y a 4 ans, j'imaginais même pas pouvoir faire le Figaro. Et là, le gagner en 4 ans, c'est super. Ouais.
For Cammas, it's time for new boats and new projects.
Et après, c'est l'aventure Groupama qui a commencé. Ça a duré quasiment 20 ans. Et avec Groupama, on a grandi. Bon, tout de suite, j'ai grandi assez vite parce que passer du Figaro à l'Orma, c'est quand même pas du tout la même chose. Déjà, découvrir le multicoque au large.
With no multi-hull experience, Cammas took the helm of his first trimaran, Groupama 1. It only took him a few months to start winning. In 3 years, Franck entered 20 races with 17 podiums. He made his first win in the Transat Jacques Vabre, and then he made a series of wins in the Orma multi-hull circuit. Franck Cammas continued his work with building new boats, taking new victories, and setting new speed records. In 2001, Franck made a visit to Stockholm and won the first edition of Archipelago Raid. Franck fell in love with the archipelago and returned for cruising several times. Franck Cammas continued his work with building new boats, taking new victories, and setting new speed records. But things can happen in the Southern Ocean.
New Zealand search and rescue authorities have saved 10 French sailors from their
A dramatic sea rescue of 10 French sailors.
10 sailors on their way to breaking the round-the-world record.
French sailors trying to recover their capsized racing yacht.
The 32-metre racing trimaran Groupama 3 capsized 150.
In the Jules Verne Trophy 2 years later, setting a new round-the-world record with 48 days and 7 hours, he got his revenge. The same year, he also won the Route du Rhum, the queen of solo transatlantic races. 2 million people visited the race village and the start of the race. This legendary trimaran, Groupama 3, is simply one of the most titled boats on the planet. But now it's time for a switch and a restart for Cammas.
Ma fierté, je pense que c'est justement d'avoir pu être à très bon niveau dans toutes ces façons de naviguer en course, tous ces bateaux. Ce qui est important, et puis l'aventure la plus grande, je pense que pour moi ça reste la Volvo Ocean Race, parce que c'est 3 ans, c'est 2 bateaux. Voilà, quand on arrive avec une victoire après l'Ocean Race, je pense que ça veut dire qu'on a coché toutes les cases qu'on peut cocher dans une aventure maritime.
In the early hours of this morning, Groupama crossed the leg 9 finish line here in Galway to win the 2011-2012 edition of the Volvo Ocean Race.
It was a dream when I read my first book. It was the first we've read, and it was already a dream to participate at this race. Winning this race, I didn't think about that never, so for sure it's an incredible day for me.
Franck Cammas kept on sailing in all kinds of boats. In June 2015, it's time to present the next challenge.
Un grand jour avec cette naissance de Groupama Team France et la certitude qu'on représentera la France sur la prochaine Coupe de l'Amérique. Il n'y a rien au-dessus de la Coupe de l'Amérique.
Maneuvers now came off their foils. We're going to find Artemis's
advantage paid.
Here we go.
Into the final gates, and the Swedes bearing down on the French. They are there. What Franck Cammas absolutely obliterated yesterday, and now holding off the Swedes in fine style.
The French team has never reached the America's Cup final and did not do it this time either. But they at least won against Sweden once.
On met le doigt dans la Coupe d'Amérique, ça devient une addiction, parce que la compétition est formidable, parce qu'elle n'est pas uniquement sportive, elle est aussi beaucoup technologique, et il y a tellement d'endroits où on peut progresser. Maintenant, on a une liste.
Cammas went home with his list and continued his sailing. He also took up positions like team manager, leveraging his deep experience in high-performance sailing to guide younger sailors and teams like the French boat in America's Cup. The recipient of the Magnus Olsson Prize 2024, a rock star in sailing, Franck Cammas.